Streaming. You're good.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Chris Parker. This is Chris Nishihara with the Ishihara and Parker Law Firm here in Longview, Texas. And today we have a topic we haven't covered before. What do we do with our graduating children, our graduating seniors going off to school?
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's right. Now the costs start, right?
Yeah. Yes, now the excitement starts. Well, May is the new December, so as you're finishing up school and doing all of your end of school activities, we were thinking, what's one thing that you maybe need to think about? So you have a graduating senior, and we meant it for high school, but it really could apply to anybody that's over 18, graduating college, anywhere in college. Any of this really would apply to your adult child.
Yep, and that's the key. They are now age 18, which makes them an adult, which suddenly closes a lot of doors if you are mom and dad and thought that you could handle business for them. That has changed completely. Okay, so they're hopping in the car. They got all their stuff for college. What's one of the things that needs to be done before they leave, or at least I guess when they get there?
Yeah, so the normal list, which would apply to anybody over 18, now applies to your child who is technically an adult, whether they're off your payroll, whether they make their own decisions, whether, any of those things. If they're 18, they make their own financial and medical decisions. And as a reminder, having powers of attorney where they appoint you as an agent doesn't remove their ability to make bad decisions. So your adult child could still go buy a car or sign a contract. So you being financial agent for them does not remove their ability to do this, but would help in the event that you needed to get some information. I had a client one time where their child had been in a very serious accident on the way home from college, and they needed to be able to access the bank account and make medical decisions and all of those things that you unfortunately hope never to need, but in a crisis might need. And it can also just be a convenience.
It could be convenience, but it could also just help with bad decisions. If we're talking about specific examples, I've heard or seen or learned about cases where the wily senior knows everything and goes and signs up for that first car. And the parents were able to wait, nope, not using student loan money for a car. Spring break trips.
I did that.
Yeah.
We're not judging any decisions.
Yeah. Spring break trips, you suddenly look on the bank account for your 18-year-old, 19-year-old and realize that think they're going to Cabo for spring break or something. Those might be things that you might be able to fix if you have some kind of notice. But okay. So they're leaving. What do they need?
It's the same list that you need as an adult. It's a financial power of attorney. So your adult child needs a financial power of attorney. You as the parent are probably their person at this point. Yep. So everybody can update their powers of attorney as life changes, as they get married, as their network grows. They can change that anytime they need to. But for now, let's just assume that they would need to appoint you, maybe your spouse, maybe their other parent. You can, again, do co-agents, so where either one of you can do it. So, for example, your child could list you or your spouse as primary agents, and then your sibling as a backup, or whoever needs to be a backup. But they can have in writing who would be authorized to handle their financial affairs for them.
And it's really helpful just to know what's going on in their lives. That's why most of my parents end up using them, because they just pull the bank account once a week to see, are they in the red? What's going on here? So not a bad idea.
We talked about the practical answer of that too. So being on the bank account can be in other ways. We still want you to have the financial power of attorney, but you might also need to be a joint owner on their account. Specifically, if you are transferring them money, it would be wise to be a joint owner on the account as opposed to just a cosigner or just having online access. Because if something does happen to that child, you want to be able to maybe move money out of there or take over and pay bills. Or, like Chris mentioned, be able to see things that might help you engage that child in a conversation. Hey, I see this is happening. Hey, we're not encouraging helicopter parenting, but just helping guide them in the right direction. And if you are still paying all the bills, what do you need legally to help make sure that you can do what you want to do or need to do?
Yep. I want to turn your second scenario you just talked about, too. Moving away from the financials, you talked about a car wreck situation. As of right now, when they're under 18, something bad happens, mom and dad rush to the scene. Mom and dad are treated like mom and dad, treated like royalty. They're going to find out what's going on. They're going to tell them what needs to be done. They're going to be kept full in the loop. Once they're an adult, things change.
Yeah. You just want to have written down who that child would authorize to make medical decisions. Again, it could be both you and your spouse with a backup. If that's not the right person, maybe it needs to be just you. Texas law does write a medical power of attorney into place. So one thing you definitely want to think through here is maybe you're a single parent and maybe that child doesn't have a relationship with their other biological parent. If that child doesn't have a medical power of attorney in writing designating who can make the decision, Texas law will say it's next of kin, which would be either parent, then siblings, then on down the line. So it is important to have that written down in some capacity so that everybody's on the same page about who would be able to make a medical decision. Because of course, you're going to want to be the one to make the medical decision if necessary. So those are important things to have done.
Yeah, all good points. So we know that our college freshman or whoever is going to have their power of attorneys, financial, medical, the HIPAA, and all those kind of things as well. Does that now mean mom and dad are home free? Are we going to be able to know what we need to know?
Yeah. So the extra one here, and Chris referenced HIPAA, so a healthcare authorization that allows you to get healthcare information. There is a separate educational authorization that's real important. So if your child is going to school, and where we've seen clients run into this is if they're paying for school and they call up the registrar's office and ask about grades or ask about enrollment, you are not entitled to get the information just because you're paying for it.
Yep.
The child that is enrolled in college is their client. Doesn't matter who's paying the bill, so they only answer to the child. So to get information, you need what's called a FERPA, a Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act authorization that says I can get information from all of these places. And then just like a healthcare authorization, you would present that to the education facility and then be able to get grades, enrollment stuff, because you're paying for school, but that child's dropping at the last minute because they know they're getting a bad grade, or you might need to be able to get information there so that you could help best guide your child on what their next step is.
And I would say that's the one that has ran into more issues for my parents. They didn't think about powers of attorney, but they surely knew they were paying for tuition, and when suddenly little Johnny, who told them they're doing just fine, somehow isn't picking up any courses being completed, things really go wrong. They call the school and get stonewalled, and yes, very useful document if you're a parent.
Yeah, and never a bad idea to have a will, but your child probably doesn't own a lot of stuff, so we put that on the last of the list. But mostly we're just trying to help you as a parent have access to what you need so you can help guide them in the right direction. Hopefully they're already moving there, but sometimes we need a little extra help or a little extra whatever.
I probably wouldn't have signed up for those 5 credit cards with the free T-shirts back in college if I'd known this thing.
If I had to do it over again.
I didn't know. Yeah. So.
Yes. Get them off to a good start. Hopefully point them in the right direction. And anything else we want to add on that? Nope. Just make sure they have their stuff in order and have a great...
Oh, well, I did think one thing. Sorry. Make sure you keep the originals.
Oh, yeah.
You should keep the originals. Don't send them off to college. They will be gone. So just throwing that out there.
Record keeping in general, very important. Yeah. Keep it somewhere safe where you have access to it and they can have a copy. But you're the one that's going to need to use it. You're the agent. So,
that's right.
Yes, good point. Good point. Keep the originals. But anyway, congratulations to our graduating seniors, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.